Hey. Hey, family. Welcome to the God Squad. We are live and in person for another day in the Twilight Zone that is that is these United States. We got my dear friend and brother and co-host Dillon Naber Cruz in the house. How you doing? How you doing?
Well, in this shit show of a kakistocracy run by fascist fuckwits, not great, but I'm here tonight. I'm here tonight.
But surviving. And I am so happy to have, we are so happy to have with us a special guest tonight. This is the Right Reverend Jeremy Steele, who calls himself the Deep Skeptic. He's also a pastor and a social media creator. He's the founder of Not Church, which is a radically inclusive spiritual community where people of all religious identities and non-identities explore spirituality and support each other in hard times. And what can be more better than that, except for his book?
Right.
Rituals for Heretics, which takes rituals and meditations from many religions, removes the divine pieces, and leaves the psychological work that everyone can have access to the wealth of human knowledge. And I am excited to get into Rituals for Heretics because I am a self-proclaimed heretic, and I believe these other two ragamuffins and heathens on here consider them a heretic too. But before
I'm self-proclaimed and also often proclaimed by other people online, right?
Self-proclaimed and often accused.
Right.
Often accused of being a heretic, which we'll get into the translation of that. But real quick, there's breaking news and bad theology in this holy war of foolishness and fuckery we are in. There's so much going on. If you have been watching the news, and you probably saw that this past Easter Sunday, the message from the Supreme Imperial Leader of the United States that was put out, his Easter Sunday message that was meant to inspire and enlighten
and uplift
and unify.
Holy shit! Yeah,
and be just like Jesus.
Just like Paul White King said, this man is so much in common with Jesus. Like, wouldn't Jesus threaten to eliminate an entire civilization? Yeah. And call the people of Iran, tell them they better open the fucking strait or he's going to eliminate the whole civilization, and also praise Allah. Wouldn't Jesus would say something like that?
Don't you what the actual Mark fuck? 17. It's in Mark 17.
Yeah, Mark 17 for sure.
Yeah. Right after the resurrection, Jesus comes out and says, I am going to wipe the Roman Empire off of this planet. It's right there in Mark 17, y'all.
I think you're forgetting the end of Matthew, like where he ascends, and like as they're looking up, he's like, "Fuck you, bitches."
Exactly.
That's the part that didn't make the canon. It's in the dead.
No, for sure.
Yeah, the dead.
And that's the joke on Mark 17 because y'all, Mark has 16 chapters.
No, for sure.
That's in file 13. Yeah.
That's a Bible nerd joke. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So that's the craziness. And then, of course, we had the Ultimate Taco Tuesday, whereby he had given them until 8 p.m. on Tuesday to do, I don't know what the hell he was wanting them to do, open up the Straight Music at least. And they're not going to do that. And so he had backed down, I think by 5 o'clock or so. Sorry about all that noise. There's a loud vehicle outside. He had backed down like everybody knew that he would, because he's just a carnival barker. He's just a barking dog.
Yeah.
You know? And apparently we're in a non-cease fire of some sort.
Right. For sure. And today, like just before we got on, he released a statement that said that Iran was doing a very poor job opening the Strait of Hormuz. Good God.
A very poor job of opening, as in it ain't fucking open at all.
Right.
and
not at all.
Remind me, was the Strait opened in February? Right. It was.
It was open before he bombed them.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. And in March, before he started being an idiot, and did y'all hear that the Undersecretary of Defense, I'm not going to use that other stupid fucking name, threatened the Pope?
Yes.
With the,
I did not see that.
He referenced the Avignon papacy, in which the French king went and kidnapped and then murdered a pope, and said that the United States military, the United States military can do whatever it wants, and the Holy See better get on the right side. In other words, you better start backing up the USA. And this just got leaked this week. And then, of course, the super good Catholic J.D. Vance, when he was asked about it, he of course hadn't heard, and he didn't want to comment on things that he didn't know were true. And I'm like, motherfucker, aren't you the guy that said they're eating the cats and the dogs, and you can make up any story you want to advance the narrative?
Well, and we've got I'm not a conspiracy theorist, just so you know. However,
that's a statement that happens a lot.
He was like the last person to touch the Pope before the previous Pope. Right?
That is true. That is true.
Man, what a way to go!
Maybe he needs to go high five Donald Trump. I didn't say that. So the United States is now threatening the entire Catholic Church.
Oh my God!
And we know that Pete Hegseth is part of Doug Wilson's church, and Doug Wilson is on record as saying that if Catholics want to have a parade, they're not going to be allowed to, because Catholics are evil. So I'm thinking there's probably something to Pete Hegseth.
Oh my God!
Sent them over there to lay down the law, and they're just like, what? And now the Pope is not coming to the United States at all.
Yes, he canceled all.
He canceled all his trips. Yeah.
No shit.
I mean, why would he come here? But also, he has continued to rebuke this administration in his social media post in very pointed ways, which I think are awesome. I'm not gonna.
He's like, come at me, bro.
He just keeps laying down theological truths about warfare and whatnot. And don't get it twisted. The Catholic Church has a lot to make up for, and they still got a long way to go on the LGBT.
Ain't nobody perfect,
right? Yes. But this Pope is not. He's not having this empire Christianity bullshit.
I love that.
Despite the fact that he's now the Pope. Craziness. And then Melania. Did y'all hear about Melania today?
Oh, her statement
was so odd. What do you all think of? First, tell the people what happened. Tell the people what happened. Everybody might not
tell
know.
us what happened.
Well, she went out in front of the White House suddenly and made a speech talking about how she was never friends with Jeffrey Epstein or Ghislaine Maxwell, and that she and Donald met randomly. This is, the lies upon lies and I'm like, what is happening?
And also that the victims should have to come to a hearing and do their testimonies under oath, and it should be made part of the congressional record. I'm like, she don't even talk like that. Who told her to come? What do they know that we don't know? What's about to hit the shit is about to hit the fan, because and then Donald Trump said he didn't even know she was doing that today. He literally said, I didn't even know she was going to have a press conference. I don't know.
But then somebody else took his team.
We know they don't talk to each other, but we didn't.
Well, yeah, and when you saw it, she was reading this long prepared thing. So somebody had to write it.
Yeah, it wasn't her.
Somebody had to vet it, right? And it was unhinged.
Yeah,
and random.
And those totally pictures random. Are fake. And the victims put out a statement and said, look, we've done our part.
Do what you're supposed to do.
Do what you're supposed to do. Don't be calling us into it. And then there was a congressman from Virginia. I cannot remember his name. It sounds Southeast Asian.
Is it like Mark Warner? Oh, no. Never mind.
No. It sounds Southeast Asian.
Which one?
And
what did
he's
say?
if you got a story to tell, come and say it under oath before the House Oversight Committee. If you want to play games,
you telling them you come sit under oath and make your statement on the record.
Yeah, and of course Michael Wolff's book is coming out, and he the guy that interviewed Epstein a bunch, and according to Wolff, Epstein said, "Oh yeah, he had sex with Melania Trump."
Yeah, well, right. That's the thing that's the thing that prompted her. Like
Wolff said, Epstein said that.
Yeah, Epstein had told him that he had.
Well, that's why she's doing it. I was trying to figure out why are you having a random press conference.
This was coming out, and she was like, I did. She like one of the first things she said is, "I'm not one of Epstein's victims," which I don't know. From what I hear about this book, like he wasn't complaining it wasn't consensual. He was just like, we got down with it one night.
Yeah.
So that's what she's trying to get out ahead of this book coming out.
Well, there's something that she's trying to get out ahead of, and I'm just wondering, like, how is the lie strategic? Because the pictures are there, everybody's seen them. Now there have been some fake pictures, but there are pictures that are verifiably real, and there's that email. You don't give. I don't have random acquaintances that I suddenly give nicknames to and send them emails with their nicknames. Right? No, that's not a thing that happens unless you're tight with people, and at least not in my world. I mean, in my world, that's how it works.
And like you said, there's real verifiable pictures out there. So for you to act like you don't have any connection, you don't know the guy, he's just some random friend of your husband. Girl, bye, bitch, please.
I mean,
Well, and Dillon, we just met each other, so I'm just gonna give you a nickname so that we can. I'm gonna call you Dilly from now on.
Right on. I mean, because that's how it works, right? We only,
exactly.
In New York, you casually meet people that are in the same social circles and shit. My friends, if you're running in the same social circles as Jeffrey Epstein, you're doing it wrong. I don't give a fiddler's fart. You're doing it wrong.
Oh no, man, no.
You're doing something wrong.
Right?
Yeah. You're doing something. Well, listen, I am excited to be talking to and to talk about the book. Rituals, or let me make sure I get it right.
You're right. Rituals for Heretics.
By the author and the skeptic pastor, Jeremy Steele. I want to get into but before we get into the book, I want to get into you, sir, the skeptic.
Yes.
Why do you call yourself the skeptic? Why is that the adjective that you want to apply to your name? We're all heretics.
Skeptic.
What are you skeptical about?
Everything. So this is it's like a personality trait, really. Like I have always been a skeptical person and wanted to base my beliefs on data. Now I'm old. I grew up before the internet in a little town in the Alabama part of Florida. And so,
Alabama, Florida.
I mean, is that all
that part, right?
I mean, most of it.
Yeah. So like, so I was in a mainline church, but down there, it didn't really matter what was on the church sign, right? Like everybody was evangelical, everybody was Baptist basically. And so we just baptized babies in my church. And so, when I was younger, the people who had like graduate degrees, like pastors and stuff, like that was the data I had. And so I believed what they said. So I was 100% creationist, right? Because, when I asked them about it, that's what they said. And they gave me books and stuff. And so, but as I grew older and, was more exposed to different sources of authority, I changed my beliefs. And so I am deeply skeptical about everything, including God. Like, I don't know if God exists. There are some days that I feel like they exist, and some days that I feel less like they exist. But I'm also a pastor, so I feel like the tools that I've been given, the skills that I have, the training that I have is to help people find religious beliefs and practices that work for them, and to be there with people in their life. And so that's the perspective on the world that I offer online. And I'll be honest, when I first started the skeptic pastor stuff, my undergrad is in speech writing, communication. So I was doing an article on it. So I, spent a month watching, figuring out what was going on in TikTok, and and planned out 10 pieces of content that I was going to do to like get my data, write my article, and it was either after the first piece or the second piece, I had like 1,500 followers. Wow. 10,000 was really close behind that, and all of a sudden I was like, oh shit, like my bullshit is helping people. And right. And I keep thinking that at some point, like, people will get tired of my bullshit. We will max out at like the people who care, but so far that hasn't happened. And my life is really weird right now.
In a good way. In a good way. Tell us about no church, or not church rather. What you I read a little bit about it at the top of the hour, but what is not church?
Yeah, so Not Church is a spiritual community that I founded that grows out of like my social media stuff and my podcast on belief. And basically it's full of people that are interested in spirituality. But it's people of all kinds of religious identities and non-identities. There's Buddhists, there's Celtic mystics, there's atheists and agnostics and Christians. And a common thread amongst most of them is that they've experienced significant religious trauma. They're not really interested in going to church, but they're interested in spirituality. And the whole Not Church name came along early on. Somebody said, this is like church. It's like all the things I miss from church. There's community. We talk about spiritual things. We are there for each other. But nobody's telling me I'm going to hell because I've got a tarot deck on my bedside table. And so that's what it is. It's very much like all of these beautiful parts of church, but everybody there has this posture of mutual respect and learning and exploration. But like somebody has a surgery, we know what time it is. People light candles, hold space, do energy work, whatever they do at that time, and check in on the people after. Like very much like church, except it's a church that I've always wished existed, and I never found.
I love that.
And this is an online gathering, or do you guys also?
It's all online. It's asynchronous. Okay. We do Zooms twice a week, and also we have. Most everybody there has some sort of religious trauma around being manipulated out of money from churches, and so we don't accept donations. It's a pay for what you get model. It's $3 a month through Patreon, and if anybody can't swing $3 a month, they just DM me on social media, and I let them in for free because like God wasn't a capitalist.
Right.
Amen.
Right.
That's great. Yeah. How do people, if someone is interested in Not Church, how do they become a part of that? Where would they go online?
They just go to patreon.com/skepticpastor and sign up there. And, if you find me online, there's links in my profile, right? That's what we have to say on every video.
That's awesome.
Links
now,
to the profile.
What's your religious background? Did you come from fundamentalist Christian, conservative Christian, Southern Baptist, Baptist-costal? What brand of
I grew up
species of Christian are you?
Yeah. I grew up in the United Methodist Church, but like I said, in the Deep South, at that time, it was no different than the Southern Baptist Church that was on the other side of the park, except that we baptized babies. And so I very much grew up in evangelical Christianity, conservative Christianity. And my church didn't do things with teenagers on Wednesday nights. So that's when I got, full on into the charismatic movement and
got radicalized.
Went non-denominational, fell on the floor, did all the things. On Wednesday nights. So that's how I grew up.
Similar to me.
Yeah, and I could play the guitar and sing. So if I ever walked into a youth room, I was immediately recruited to be in the band.
Right. Now, do you still, other than the Not Church, are you still pastoring like in a physical church space too, or
no? I'm 100% online.
Oh, okay. And did you go to seminary and everything? Do all that?
I went to seminary. I'm still ordained in the United Methodist Church, and they have endorsed this crazy project. When I proposed it being official, I was certain that they were going to say no, but I don't know if there was like a gas leak in the room where they were meeting or what, but like they were like, yeah, go for it.
That's awesome. I mean,
that's great. I know that there have been other denominations that have really explored these sort of alternative church models. And when I was in seminary, I participated in one that I absolutely loved. We met, there were only like 10 people. We would sing some songs, and then we would go through a book of the Bible at a time. And so every Sunday night we would just read a pericope, or if the chapter was short, we might read the whole chapter. Then we would have communion, and then community prayer. There was no sermon, there was no offering, and then COVID just wiped it out.
Oh wow. Yeah, we don't do any sort of live stream with some white guy and a guitar singing shitty Chris Tomlin songs and me talking for a half an hour. But
I don't know who Chris Tomlin is. He must be a community. What's that?
No,
he's
contemporary Christian music.
If you've been to some church that has a guy with a guitar, you've sung some of his fucking songs, I'm sure.
Okay.
Yes. If you've seen one, you've probably seen them all. But I love the whole concept. I'm also part of an online community, but we do also meet in person. We had a Easter sunrise service this past Sunday, which I participate in every year, which is Ecclesia. If anybody's interested to know about that, it's ecclesialove.com. But we also do Zoom and all that. I think one thing that COVID taught us, if it didn't teach us anything else, is especially in the faith community, is that the world is so much bigger than your building. You got people who were pushing hard against going online, but only could get 15 or 20 people to show up at Sunday on their in their church building, but could get 2,000 people to show up online. You know, the world is there's so much more. The audience is bigger in the world than in these buildings. And by audience, I just mean that someone who wants to hear what you have to say, and someone who's saying something that you want to hear.
Yeah, and that's the thing that it blows my mind every week. I get somewhere between 400,000 and 1.5 million views every single week. And
that's amazing.
It's very strange. Like I'm just like walking around with myself, but it's a weird feeling to feel like that many people give a shit about what you have to say. But it also means that like there is a mass of people that are really interested in a different perspective on spirituality.
Yes,
right?
There's a thirst and a hunger there.
Yeah, and
it's not for institutional religion.
Sure, and a progressive spiritual take on politics and current events, right? Those things people care about.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, we've been doing this show for almost 2 years. Well, it'll be 2 years in July. And, you know, when we first started talking about this stuff on the radio, I was like, this is going to be a one and done thing.
Right.
But But apparently people really enjoy hearing about these different perspectives and people that have come from fundamentalist backgrounds. You know, I grew up Southern Baptist and Church of Christ, and then my mom and her husband started going to the pew jumping holy rollers and stuff, and tried to make me go, and I was like, nope, that ain't for me. But you know, and lots of people have come from those places going, wait, you told me to read the words in red, and now that I'm trying to do that stuff, you're calling me woke.
Woke, weak, a snowflake, a bleeding heart liberal, or whatever, just because you actually believe the words Jesus said.
like to be clear, some of that stuff was really fun. Like when I was in high school, afterwards, after school, a couple of days a week, we'd go over to this lady's house where she had like a charismatic prayer meeting. And we would put on this music. We would have tambourines and streamers and dance around and sing. And I'll be honest, it was by far one of the gayest things I've ever gotten to do. But
gay two ways, and it was fun to do.
No. It was actually just gay, like just gay. But it was fun. Like it was great.
Oh, yeah.
And there was like this like freedom to dance and frolic and like then speak in tongues and be overcome with like these ecstatic experiences. Also completely damaging and toxic.
Well, what the faith experience in organized religion is not all bad. And not all churches are doing toxic and unimaginable harm.
For sure.
There's a lot of good preachers, pastors, ministers, churches out there. Yeah. So for those that are doing it right, we thank God for those ones. But there are so many that are doing it wrong. They give the ones doing it right a bad rep and give Jesus a bad rep and give Christianity a bad rep.
And those are the ones that get clicks and viewers because they're assholes and people like to watch an asshole. And so, so the people that are
unfortunately, they get a bigger platform than the ones that are doing it right.
Right. They're normal and calm, so they don't get brought on to Fox News, right, to spout insane things.
Yeah, it chaps my butt sometimes when I look at Paula White Cain up there wearing a dress that probably cost more than I've ever made as a public speaker, theologian, author, etc. And I'm just like, I can't grift. I don't have that in me, right? Yeah. Like I'll tell people, hey, I wrote some books. They're pretty good. These people say that they're good, but I'm not gonna. But it still pisses me off sometimes when I see people like Mark Driscoll and he's getting millions of people listening to his dumb ass. And I'm over here with like, if 100 people read my Substack, I'm like, wow, 100 whole people read that.
Right.
Not that I'm bitter or anything, God damn it. But it just goes to show you that sometimes people are attracted to authenticity, and sometimes people are attracted to
whatever will validate their
charisma
what they align with.
That has emptiness or self-aggrandizement or narcissism behind it, like people like Paula White Cain. I can't stand that woman. It sounds fascinating what you're doing. I love the pluralistic aspect of it, and the idea that agnostics and Buddhists and Christians and all kinds of people can come together because, and I've made this point multiple times recently, all theology is speculative. We're all just, I mean, in some ways we can look at the words on the page and go, that's what that says. Jesus said to feed the hungry, right? So we should probably do that. But then we can get all twisted into knots about fancy words from 17 centuries ago or whatever.
Right.
And that's where it becomes speculative, right? But whatever the faith, I mean, nobody's certain. That's why I'm more of an agnostic hodgepodgeist than I am anything else. And I pretty clearly identify as a heterodox theologian these days, right?
Right. And that's really one of the things that that became super clear to me when I was writing this book, because I was looking for religious rituals and meditation practices to bring forward, and a lot of them, like you're like, oh, this smudging thing is interesting, and then you're like, oh, what? This culture does it, and this culture does it, and it's in Hoodoo, and it's in First Nations, and you're like, oh yeah, because I think the fundamental premise that I started with that was confirmed more and more as I read it, or as I wrote it, was that for millennia, people have been meeting very deep psychological needs through religious ritual, right?
Yeah.
And that has been being honed and perfected for thousands of years, well before psychology even existed, or even the scientific method existed. And so what's disappointing is that when people don't have faith, lose their faith, aren't sure about what they believe, they lose access to that massive body of human knowledge.
Yeah.
Right. And that's tragic. So what I did was I said, okay, let's look at these religious rituals. Let's figure out exactly what's going on psychologically. Like, what's the psychological need that's being met, right? And so let's take the divine part out, but keep the sort of methodology of the ritual intact. And the psychological work that it's doing intact, so that people can put whatever they believe or don't believe back into the ritual, and meet that psychological need. Because, like, I mean, and that's each chapter starts with a little like description of where it came from religiously, and then it explains the psychology that's behind what's going on there. And when you start looking into the research, like, all of this is like all of the what's happening here is very fundamental, foundational psychology, right? For example, the smudging thing that I mentioned, that's the practice of like taking dried herbs or something, lighting it on fire, letting the smoke sort of go through the house, and you actually walk through the house, and where there's like bad memories, whatever, you say some things, you recall the memories, and you sort of go from room to room, and then you go back through, and you say, I'm gonna, you sort of invite the opposite of that. Like, I want this kitchen to be a place of feeding and whatever, and so you go through. But all of the movement, the power of the smell, the visual that you associate with the smoke, sort of like taking things away, all of that does some really fascinating things psychologically, where a lot of those bad memories are stored in these emotion centers of the brain, and they get stuck there, and by doing this kind of thing, it begins to unlock that and process it. And move it from sort of one side of the brain over to the other side of the brain, which is the same kind of stuff that like therapies like EMDR do in the therapeutic realm. And so, though it's not EMDR, right? It's the things that it produces in your brain are really beautiful things. And then the other thing that's really helpful about ritual, we also have meditation practices, but really things that's really interesting about ritual is things that are going on inside of our head. It's hard for us to just process with thoughts, right? We can spiral, we can ruminate, we can do all these things, but when you begin to bring them into your body, right? Touch things, feel things, say things out loud, light things on fire, throw things away. All of a sudden, this thing that you were spiraling on, you've got some like handles to hold on to it with. And yeah, it's just really fascinating.
People associate rituals with the church, with religious practices and things like that. In the interview I was with you on Heretic Happy Hour, I talked about reclaiming our time. I talked about reclaiming ritual, reclaiming what is spiritual, what is divine. Even when we think about what is divine, normally we're taking our cue from someone else or something else that has informed us, educated, programmed us, told us, dictated to us what is divine. Even we don't normally define that for ourselves, right? We're getting that from the pulpit, from the preacher, from the mama, from the daddy, from the Bible, from the Quran, from wherever we're getting it from. But we get to reclaim that. We get to reclaim that. I get to say that time with my children is divine. I get to say that the sweet potato pie that my mom made yesterday is divine. I get to say that when I write spoken word and speak that to people, and I get to impact their heart, their mind, and their soul with my words, that is divine. We really must reclaim what is sacred, what is ritual, and a lot of people will say, well, I'm not a spiritual person, but the same person that might say that will say, well, I got to get up and open up the curtains and turn on my music and light my candle. You are a spiritual person.
Yes, right. Yeah.
You do have rituals. You might not go to church, you might not take communion, but you got rituals, boo. Every summer and fall, you be cleaning out stuff and you going and get pregnant and see how you act around the house. You create some rituals real quick. It's in your subliminal, in your subconscious. You know what I'm saying?
It's just
everyone has
part of being
nature.
human.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And we had. Go ahead. Go ahead, Jerry.
As you're saying that, it made me think of the book's in two sections. There's the ritual in the first half. The second half is like 12 different meditation practices. So like I have ADD. I am not good at concentration, attention, sitting still, any of that. And so when I first encountered meditation, when somebody told me how to meditate, like what I should do, like I sucked at it, right? Like these, like sitting quiet with my eyes closed and clearing my mind, that's a non-starter.
I struggle so bad with that.
Right. Yeah. But here's what I think is really interesting is that when you begin to look into all of the different modes of meditation that are practiced in a bunch of different religious traditions, you quickly find out that there are modes of meditation that match everybody's personality style, everybody's interests, the things that like get you going. There are meditation practices that do that. Like there's like for people who like to walk, there's something called Buddhist walking meditation that is focused on being fully present in your body as you are walking and feeling the sensation in your feet, right? There's people who are like interested in art, love visual art. And there's this Orthodox practice of icon gazing, where when you take out the theology and you just engage in the practice with art, man, it's this like transformative experience of art for people who are already people who vibe with that, right? And so like I think it's like it's tragic that the term meditation has become associated with this one very specific style of meditation, which can be wonderful. Don't get me wrong. So
but there are many ways to meditate. Yeah.
Right. And like the food, like all of these different things, there are full-on meditation practices that are very much these sort of grounding experiences that train your mind in ways that will help you deal with stress later. I could go on and on. I wrote a whole book about it.
One of our folks commented, J. Eric Thompson, I want to read this. It says, I supervised the pagan Wiccan service on base while deployed in Iraq 18 years ago. One of the first gatherings of the group featured the leader describing how each individual could construct their own altar. It was cool to see that approach, which differs substantially from my tradition, though the anthropology is not so different. And I love that. I do love that.
One of the rituals in the book actually draws on that practice. And again, we don't call it, it's not an altar of any sort of divine thing, right? But it can be if you want to put that into it. But these like constructing of altars with we've got one that's like focused on nature things, and like you bring this piece in, and it when you bring things into the physical items into a space that matters, it brings memory, right? It brings a moment with it, and so these the practice of creating altars, it's profound. Has a profound psychological effects, because we will attach experiences, ideas, and memories to physical items. And so then when you bring those into a space where you regularly see that, right, it brings the power of that into your life in an ongoing way. It's
We had Rabbi Danya Ruttenberg on here a few weeks ago to talk about her fantastic book, and today she put out a video, or at least I saw it today. And y'all know that picture of there's a big crowd of Nazis and everybody's doing the Sieg Heil except for that one dude who's like standing there with his arms crossed.
I hadn't seen it, but I like the idea.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
I can see it in my mind.
It's a pretty famous photograph, and she's like, "So what did this guy have going on that he was able to stand there amongst all of this fascism, all of this stupidity, and be strong enough to be like, yeah, no." And she was talking about, look, you might not be religious, but you got to have something, some kind of ritual, some kind of something that you do to fill your cup, because right now we can't afford to be drained all the time. And boy, I feel that a lot. And so so I appreciate that you're bringing these rituals, and that Desimber said, that any kind of thing can be that. And I wrote a piece the other day, and one of the things I said was, you got to be checking on your people right now. And that's hard for me. When I start going into isolation mode, me checking in on people is not going to be something that I'm going to do organically, right? But we have to be checking in and providing community and also ritual and all of these things to navigate this shit show of MAGA world. Life is hard enough as it is without this whole fucking thing going on, right? And when 25 years ago, I was taking Psych 100 or whatever. And this is how the fundamentalist mind thinks. So I'm going to show you how Dillon used to engage in fundamentalist fuckwittery. The professor said that she wanted us to sit and meditate and then like journal about the experience or whatever. And my immediate thing was to tell this professor, hey, I'm a Christian. I don't want to be engaging in any weird Eastern religious practices or whatever. And this was an online class.
You could be opening yourself up to a demon.
Right, exactly.
That's what I was told about meditation. No lie, like
that's what they teach you.
If you do that, you are going to open yourself up to a demon. You could be possessed.
Yeah, I could. Looking back on it now, like this was an online class, so all this took place like over email. But I can just imagine the professor going, "Oh fuck, not one of them," and just rolling her eyes when she read it. But when I was in seminary, we learned contemplative prayer. That's
that's one of the meditation practices in the thing.
And I too have a hard time sitting still. So what I did was I set my timer on the app, the Centering Prayer app, right?
And go ahead.
And I set it for 3 minutes.
Yep.
And then the next day I set it for 4. And then I would set it for 6. And then I eventually got to where I was setting it for 30 minutes and it went by in no time.
Yeah.
I just trained myself And then, of course, like I have so often done, I got out of the practice,
For sure. Yeah.
And that's why we need community, like what you're talking about with the not church. That's why community is so valuable. And some people still find church very valuable for that reason.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is that like, religion is so serious. Like, why so serious? But like, people are so like, and there is, I feel like people lose a sense of play, right? And especially when I was growing up, like, oh, what if a demon comes in? Like all of this shit, like got to read Frank Peretti's books and
oh my God, yeah,
all of that, right? But one of the things that is fun about something like this book is that since I take the God part out, like no hangups. You just get to play. You get to play around, like go burn some smoke and walk around your house. See if that works, if that does it for you. Right? Like go cook some food that your grandfather used to love and sit around and have stories about your different relatives over the food that they love. Like whatever it is, like go fucking look at art or walk really slowly in a park and like you can play, you can have fun. And if it doesn't work for you, fine. Don't ever do it again. But you might like attempt centering prayer for 3 minutes and be like, that was cool. I think I'm going to keep trying that.
Yeah.
And that's like I said, like there's no reason to not have access to all of this human knowledge just because you're hung up on whether it is God or the goddess or whatever the fuck it is. Like just let's get over that and just have fun and put whatever God stuff you want to put into it. It's fine.
Well, and here's the thing too. A lot of Christians, especially, will be like, "Did you hear what he said? Just have fun. No. This is serious." Listen, the issue I have primarily with Christianity, because that's my background, but with any religion that does this, is the arrogance of religion.
Oh, yes.
The arrogance of religion that says that doing yoga and doing meditation, like I'll just put Christian because that's the background that I have. Yoga and meditation to open up portholes to the devil and that. Are you be for real? Because let me just go. It's always the way we do it is the right way, and the way everybody else is doing it is pagan and wrong and sinful. And you're gonna go to hell. How is meditation a bad thing just because they don't do it like you? Because the scriptures that I read, I'll give you a couple. Psalms 1:2-3. Delight is in the law of the Lord, and who meditates on his law day and night. Joshua 1:8. Keep this book of the law always on your lips and meditate on it day and night. Psalms 119:15. I will meditate on your precepts and fix my eyes on your ways. Philippians 4:8. Finally, my brethren and brothers, sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, think, or in other words, meditate, ruminate on these things. Psalms 145:3. I remember the days of long ago.
Girl, you're pulling out all of your Bible memory cards, right?
On all your, I'm reading it on all your works and consider. And finally, this one, which a lot of people know, Psalms 19:14. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord. Why is it that whatever we do it is okay, but whatever way y'all are doing it, you're going to hell, you're gonna burn up.
Right.
You better get right, church.
In Jesus' name, that's the problem.
This is
it's the arrogance of it. It's like we have our little rituals. You act like you don't know Christ, you don't believe Christ, and somebody's trying to explain to you about Jesus Christ and communion, and a virgin got pregnant by a spirit and had a human baby, and an angel came down and told her, "Don't be afraid," and told Joseph, "She didn't cheat on you. This baby is from God. They not out here. She ain't for the streets. It's the Lord that put the baby, and also you need to drink the blood and eat the flesh and remember me."
That's why they use.
Why isn't that don't sound crazy?
Christians were literally eating babies.
But that's the arrogance.
Thought they were eating babies.
Yeah, that's the arrogance, right? Because to somebody else, they might be like, "Did y'all hear what this crazy woman just said? She said, eat the flesh and drink the blood, and a virgin had a baby. The virgin didn't have no baby. She was out there in the streets and blamed it on the Lord." You know what I'm saying?
That's
and so it's just like, it's like our rituals, what we believe in and cannot prove, Okay, because faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So believing all this stuff we believe, the Noah's Ark and Elijah and Elisha and Moses and the parting of the Red Sea, this is all by faith, and we can't prove not one stitch, not one jot, not one tittle of it. Can't prove none of it. But for some reason, the arrogance of religion, and especially Christianity, that says all the shit I believe is real and true, and that shit you believe, that ain't real. That's not true. You're going to hell. And I'm like, I was like, fuck y'all.
And it's dangerous to even really engage thoughtfully with it. Like, you're going to hell. I don't want to hear any of that bullshit because I don't want to go to hell too, just by hearing it.
Just by listening.
Actually, this is one of the things I was listening to you.
That's what gets on my nerves about Christians. It's just,
but
just believe what you believe and mind your fucking business.
Yeah, goddamn. Like, it's one of the things I love about this not church community, because there's all of these people who believe all of this different stuff, and they are playing with each other. I mean, not like that, but I mean, maybe, I don't know. I'm not here to judge anybody's. I'm not here to kink shame anybody, but like they're playing with all of these ideas and learning from each other, and like saying, like, I'm not a Satanist. Like, I don't believe that, but that idea that you just shared, that's the real shit. Right. Yeah. And I don't know. And I feel like to be honest, that community is the only place in the world that I ever experienced. I've never had to moderate it. I've never had to boot anybody. And
nice.
Yeah. And like, I don't know why the fuck can't Christians be like that? Like,
because they're too busy trying to be right. They're too busy trying to be better. They're too busy trying to be superior. They're too busy not being like Jesus. Because I'm going to tell you about Jesus. Jesus had so many interfaith interactions in the scripture where he blessed, healed, served, and didn't compel anybody to convert to a goddamn thing. Okay?
The woman at the well. Days and fasted to pray.
Yes. The woman at the well, the woman with the demon-possessed child, the woman that said even the dogs get the crumbs. He was like, you know what? You're right, boo. You know what I'm saying? He didn't compel them to go back and do whatever it is you've been doing. Right. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to do nothing different. Just know that what you had a real encounter. This was the real shit that happened with you right here.
Right.
You know
My favorite story like that is that story where Jesus is asking the disciples, like, who do you say I am? All of that, like Moses, Elijah, and then Peter says, you're the Messiah, or whatever the fuck he says. If I was a Southern Baptist, I would know exactly what it says. But what's really cool about that story is that it happens in a place called Caesarea Philippi, and not Caesarea Philippi. Yeah, Caesarea Philippi, which is not Jewish. It is way the fuck outside. That's the location of a massive temple to the god Pan. There is a grotto that has a spring of water coming out of it that they believe is an entryway to the underworld. And everybody goes into the water and has sex rituals. Right.
What?
That's where Peter says that Jesus is the Messiah, not outside the temple. And like, Jesus is like, all right, cool, keep that to yourself. But like the place where that's going to happen is outside of a sex temple. Like, and Jesus, after it's over, Jesus isn't be like, all right, guys, break it up. Stop doing that. Clean. Get some towels.
Right.
Like we need to go kill some goats at the temple because you're all not doing it right.
Right. Like just like with the centurion slave, he didn't say go stop fucking your slave after he healed the slave, because you know that centurion had every right to fuck that slave.
Yep.
Because that's the way things worked for the Roman Empire.
Mm.
Well, look, I don't know what the centurion was doing with the slave. What I do know is that Jesus healed them.
Okay? Exactly.
That's what we do know.
He didn't rebuke the dude.
He didn't do that. I do know that Jesus dealt with the woman at the well justly and kindly, without condemning, judging, sending her to hell like all these Christians. Right. Christians love directing traffic to heaven and hell like they gotta say so. Ain't gotta say so. And you ain't got a seat reserved in either place until you get there. Shut the fuck up It gets on my nerves. It gets, and this is coming from someone who stood in the pulpit as a pastor for 10 years. It gets on my nerves. I was getting on my own damn nerves. You know, I had to go through deconstruction myself, and I was just like, you know what? If I wasn't pastoring, I wouldn't even be up in this bitch. And that's when I was like, let me get on. And how many pastors have dealt with it? They're like, if I wasn't pastoring this church, I wouldn't be at this goddamn church. I wouldn't even be up in here.
Most of them, unless they're in a really good church.
Because and my reasoning was, I cannot be fake with this anymore. I cannot perform it. It's got to be real, and God is more real to me than it has ever been. And I'm probably a pariah in a lot of the circles that I used to be in for the way that I believe now. But I'm more free now than I have ever been. And I don't
especially if they listen to this podcast.
Right? They're like, look, she got a dirty mouth. She got to go jump off a cliff, change the channel, keep scrolling. Motherfucker, this is not for you if it offends you, okay? Find something else to do. Go pray. But anyways, pray for me if that's what you think you need to do, if you think I need deliverance. Yeah. But the thing is, we have a right to have the relationship with God that we want to establish with God, not what someone else says, or no relationship at all. Not what someone else says should be and shouldn't be, not how someone else says should be, not for the reason someone else. And see, we have to start reclaiming this power that we ceded to these pulpits and these collars and these robes and these people that are preaching to you out of one side of their mouth and on that bullshit behind closed doors.
Right.
You know, they're not any closer to God than you.
Oh,
they're not any closer to the truth than you. They're not any more divine than you. They're not any more perfect. They're not any more holy. And they could put on their pants and take off their pants and go play in rush hour traffic just like the next person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you think you're better than someone else. And that's my pet peeve with most religions, is how dare you judge what someone else says is sacred? How dare you try to discredit someone else's prophet? How dare you try to discredit someone else's sacred holy text? Fuck you. Right. And the horse you rode in on. You don't get to disqualify someone else's God, someone else's prophet, someone else's holy text. Why don't you just mind your own fucking business that pays and saves you, so you say?
Right. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. When I was in Mexico in 2006, I would go into Catholic churches and just sit quietly or pray, and I would cross myself. And somebody was like, "Are you Catholic?" And I was like, "Nope, but it's a sacred space to them, so it's sacred to me."
Yeah,
it ain't hard, y'all. It's literally not hard. But as soon as people start weaponizing their faith, then I'm peace out. Go.
Yep, we're done.
Go be done. Remind us of the name of the book again before we get to the word on the street.
Rituals for Heretics.
Rituals for Heretics.
Rituals for Heretics. Y'all go check it out. Pick it up.
It releases on April the 14th. Get it on Amazon, and I'll get somewhere between 5 and 10 cents off of it. If you want a signed, personalized copy right now, you can go to my website. I'll get actual money. skepticpastor.com/rituals. You can buy one there, but really, we know that you're not going to, and you're going to go to Amazon, and that's fine.
And real quick, before we get to word on the street, this word heretic, it gets a bad rap. I posted about it earlier this week. It gets a bad rap because of the way people use it and weaponize it. But the Greek word just simply means able to choose, one who chooses, one who diverges from the organized thought of a thing. And if someone accuses me of being a heretic, I'm gonna say, damn right, I have my own mind. I'm able to choose. I'm not just led around like a sheep that can't read, study, and research for myself. You're damn right. I don't have to trust that everything is the truth just because it came over a pulpit from someone that was in a robe and a collar. Damn right.
I'm done inheriting beliefs.
Thank you. Say it again for the people in the back.
I am done inheriting fucking beliefs.
We need an order right there. I'm done. We need, amen. That's what I got. I'm done inheriting belief. You don't get to pass. And also with that belief, you don't get to pass on your trauma. You don't get to pass on your tradition. You don't get to pass on your misogyny, your racism, your homophobic, xenophobic, bigotry, all that, because all that is tied up in that stuff that they pass down to you and telling you who to love and who to hate and who your enemy is, instead of telling you that God created and loved us all. You can have all that shit. And you could also have the arrogance and the hubris that says everything I believe is truth and everything you believe is a lie. You're a lie and the truth is not in you. And if you think that God is so small that he can just be contained in your prophet and in your scripture, in your Bible, and especially the King James Version, something is wrong with you. Grow the fuck up. Read a book or 2 or 3 and mind your own damn business. Believe what you want to believe and let people believe what they want to believe, and quit trying to elevate yourself over other people just because you think your prophet, your scripture, and the way you believe is the truth. The world is bigger than you, and God is bigger than your religion.
Yes.
Amen.
Anyway, now we got a word on the street from Dillon.
Well, before we get to the word on the street, I do want to, we every once in a while we do faith in action kind of highlight thing here, and this is a really beautiful one from Colombia's highest ranking Catholic official spent Maundy Thursday, I believe it was Maundy Thursday, washing the feet of transgender sex workers in Colombia's red light district and calling for empathy and compassion. He didn't condemn them. He didn't say y'all shouldn't be sex workers. He didn't say y'all shouldn't be trans. And I love the fact that he did this when the Pope is still saying, the teachings on LGBTQ plus are not going to change anytime soon. My dude, they need to. Let's talk, Leo. But this is a beautiful example of somebody living out their faith in a very red letter way, which I can truly appreciate. So let me just get his name right. Cardinal Luis Jose Rueda Aparicio in Bogota's Santa Fe Tolerance Zone is where he went. They have a red light district in Bogota, Colombia, and he was washing their feet. And the trans women, some of them were interviewed by the news, and they said, I felt so loved, I felt seen, I felt appreciated. And that, friends, is how you do it. As our good friend Keith Giles said, if the person that you say you're loving don't feel the love, then you're not doing it right. Go reevaluate whether or not it's love.
That's right.
But the word on the street, this goes out to Pete Hegseth and all those zealots for violence, and it comes from theologian Walter Wink. We can easily kill oppressive rulers, but doing so makes us killers. We want to believe in a final violence that will this last time eradicate evil and make future violence unnecessary. But the violence we use creates new evil, however just the cause, inculcates the longing for revenge and for what the losers call justice. And they will have learned from our example how to use violence more efficiently. Violence can never stop violence because its very success leads others to imitate it. Yes. He goes on to say, the removal of nonviolence from the gospel blasted the keystone from the arch, and Christianity collapsed into a religion of personal salvation and an afterlife jealousy guarded by a wrathful and terrifying God, the whole system carefully managed by an elite core of priests with direct backing from secular rulers now regarded as the elect agents of God's working in history. And that comes from Engaging the Powers. My copy's falling apart. By Walter Wink. I took a peace theology course when I was in seminary, and this was one of the books that I read. That is the word on the street. Our guest tonight, Jeremy Steele. Thank you so much for joining us and for writing this book. I can't wait till it comes out because I'm going to pick up a copy and check out some of those rituals and hopefully re-engage some of those parts of the brain that our brains say ritual is important. And to give us all strength to stand up to this cacostocracy of fascist plutocratic fuckwits.
All that. Tell people again where they can get in touch with you, where they can get your book, and also where they can connect with Not Church.
Yeah, I am Skeptic Pastor on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. You can get a signed copy of my book at skepticpastor.com/rituals. But the thing that I love the most is not church. And you can be part of that community by going to patreon.com/skepticpastor. It's $3 a month. But if you can't swing $3 a month, just DM me on social media. I'll get you in there for free.
All right. We love it. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for writing the book.
Absolutely.
You guys,
Thank
it
you so
drops
much.
April the 14th, Rituals for Heretics. And it's all right. Go ahead and call you. I'm going to give me a t-shirt made. This says, yes, I'm a heretic. Go ahead and be feel free to think for yourself. It's all right. Thank you, Jeremy, for joining us. And also always my fearless and fuckwittery beating down Dillon Naber. Thank you. Be well, y'all. Go with God or not. That's up to you. Have a great week, and we'll see you back here Wednesday on Tell Me Everything with John Fugelsang, and back Thursday on the God Squad. Thank you for tuning in.
And we'll have Dr. Matthew Taylor next week to talk about his book, The Violent Take It by Force, about Christian nationalists, Christian supremacists, etc. So make sure you tune into that. Like, subscribe, and share. Go read Desimber's latest Substack, and check out Jeremy's website and Not Church community, y'all. We need connection more than ever.
All right. Take care.